Felicia Umera has endured flooding for many years. Her stopgap measures have generally worked, but now she's worried.
So the water that
comes here is much, deepening the waterway, inching close to my house. It wasn't this deep initially. My son has intervened with his personal resources because the flood water keeps hitting my house. He brought trips of stones and built the water channel, which has helped, but it's still threatening.
According to the country's emergency management agency, over 170,000 people were affected by flooding in different parts of the country last year. The year before, floods destroyed over 200,000 houses, washed away about 100,000 hectares of farmlands, killed about 500 people, and displaced about 1.4 million people in Nigeria. Activists say the Nigerian government needs to wake up to the threat.
There's this issue of global warming that is making rain to fall more in even areas where they have never experienced rain as much as, in past weeks. Dubai is an example. So I think one of the major things is global warming. Two is how people build their houses where they did not make provision for water to pass. So eventually, if those preparations are not made, there's that tendency that water will collect and when it cannot stay any longer, it must find a way.
The government predicts that this year's flooding from April to November will affect multiple districts across the country. All but 5 of Nigeria's 36 states are expected to experience heavy rains. The government is making emergency plans, but activists believe temporary measures are a waste of time and money.
The people that had that flooding last year, whole poultry was swept away. This is somebody's livelihood. And then a building can collapse, fences, So it's economically disastrous. Most people have wells. Once it's flooded, those wells will also be flooded and the drinking water will be contaminated, so diseases can also spread. The government must be involved in planning, serious planning, so that areas that are not on waterways should not build. Construction of drainages, because most people as individuals, there are places where as an individual will not be able to do it.
The government has unfolded a strategic action plan for flood prevention and management in the country. It includes development and management of floodplains and increased public awareness for the relocation of vulnerable persons and communities. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation says the government is also planning to dredge 2 of the country's major rivers, the Niger and Benue, as part of measures to reduce their annual flooding and their tributaries. However, he didn't say when that will begin. State governments have also taken heed of the flood warnings and are putting in place mitigation measures, such as sensitization campaigns for residents to clear waterways, thereby reducing the threat of flood on people like Felicia. Tassim Akende, CGTN Jos.